All right, we are live, everyone. Hooray.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about this book. So, blah, words. Hello. Oh, wait, hold on. I can hear myself. The live show started. Okay, there we go. All right. Welcome, everyone, to our live show where today we're going to be discussing Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor, which is a novella set in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone world following Susanna and Mick. If you haven't read it, you need to now. But yes, this is the final live show that we're doing as part of our Daughter of Smoke and Bone read-along, which has been a lot of fun and very interesting. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the final book today. So did you guys want to introduce yourself and let everyone know what you rated it, what you thought?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
You can go.
Okay, I'm Cassie. My channel's Miss Sassy Cassie, and I gave the Night of Cake and Puppets a 5 out of 5 stars because I gave the entire series a 5 out of 5 stars.
I'm
and
Red.
yeah, I really liked it.
Sorry.
Oh no,
I'm
that's
Red Reader, and I also rated this 5 out of 5 stars.
I'm Kaz. You're on my channel here, Little Book Owl, and I also rated it 5 out of 5 stars. It's just everything I wanted. It was perfection. It was beautiful. I love how stunning it is all throughout, like with all of the illustrations. It was such a nice touch.
Oh my gosh. I remember, I will show you my favorite. It makes me giggle. Hold on, I should have marked this. I should have been prepared. I am not a person.
For those of you who haven't read Night of Cake and Puppets, so this is a novella. It's basically the origin story of Susanna and Mick, who are a couple in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. Oh, yes, I love that one.
I listened to it, so I didn't get to see any of the art. I'm going to have to go get a copy.
Oh my God, it's all throughout because it's like separated into little chapters, and like the heading is based, like the title of that chapter is kind of based on like a phrase or something that's said within it. And then at the start of it, there's a little illustration to depict that.
That's the one I feel like Cassie would particularly appreciate.
Oh,
yes.
I'm gonna have to get a copy from the library just so that I can like flip through and see.
Oh my God,
yeah, because the illustrations are part of what made me love it so much.
Yeah, like thank God for Murdered Monks, which is something that she's in the cemetery. Like it's just so cool, and I loved. Oh, it's fantastic.
For treatments for female baldness.
Nick, look at him. He's beautiful. Oh
my God, I love it.
I love that Laini Taylor's husband illustrated this. Like, I love that. That just makes it, especially because, like, in my head, they're like Mick and Susanna years later.
I know. They just seem to, like, have such a wonderful, wonderful relationship. They just seem to be so in love with each other, like, years after being married and stuff. Oh,
like, in their stories and stuff, like, they still, like, giggle at each other, and like it seems like, you know, they're just as in love now as they were then, and they didn't lose that like cutesy part of their relationship, you know.
Exactly.
They're just so cute. It's kind of like gross and annoying at the same time as being cute. Whoops.
It's like, oh my God, you're so cute, I want to punch you. Except the thing is I feel like Susanna sort of takes care of that because she like is both really romantic in this book, but also a very unromantic person. So it's like,
which was so interesting. I loved it, and I wasn't expecting to like how cutesy it was, but it didn't feel out of character. It just felt so right because it was just like these two characters were so made for each other, and they'd both for the longest time been watching each other from afar and didn't know what to do. And I love the fact that Susanna was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to do something about this. And she went like extra.
And I loved the scene where they're walking into the theater and she's like, oh no, this could be the moment on accident, and this isn't the moment I have planned.
And then you find out that Mick had kind of like purposely orchestrated that so that he'd be close to her, like he waited for her to show up.
So I want to talk about the very first story for a second with the puppet,
Mm-hmm.
right? Though in the snapping jaws,
Oh, yeah.
which was a fun story overall. But like, am I the only one that thought that like her was slightly mortified when she saw it? Because like, I thought it was like the skeleton of like Chimera or something, and that's why she panicked, and nobody else would have thought. Everybody else didn't know Chimera existed, so I'm like, oh, it wouldn't freak them out. Of course, they would think it was a fake puppet. And I'm like, what if it's a little Chimera?
I didn't think about that because, like, you've got the illustration of it as well. It's like well, it said it was like a fox head, but it looks so much more menacing than that.
Yeah, so that's why I thought it could have been like some kind of Chimera, because it could be a combination of who knows what.
Wait, I need to see this.
You need to get the physical book because the illustrations were so wonderful. Oh, I'm just skipping to the end. I love how there was like these little Polaroids of Karoo and Susanna as well.
I know.
Friendship. Isn't it beautiful? Anyway,
I missed the whole thing. Wow.
you did. Gosh.
I'm upset.
Oh,
Yeah, I loved it. I mean,
it was perfection.
they're already like they're such the like comedic relief and like the lovable part of the whole series. So then to have like a whole book about them, it was all so cute and nice.
It was. I loved it so freaking much. And I was so scared that I was going to be a little bit let down, because I have Susanna like on this pedestal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And I was a little worried I'd be let down, but this book was so much more than I ever hoped it could be.
Mm-hmm.
What was your guys' favorite moment?
It's hard to pinpoint one.
Well, you guys are thinking, I know what my favorite moment is.
Do tell.
It's when Susanna puts the coffee inside of the mug after she's already put cigarette butts in it.
Oh my god!
It's funny that you said that. My mind was like her dragging the opera singer. Like, and I'm like, that's a favorite illustration though. Is it my favorite moment? But it might be, because that's like that whole scene right there is the part that keeps popping into my head when you ask me that question.
And
it just cracked me up so much.
I know, I need the illustration.
Yeah, this is the illustration.
Oh my god, amazing. Yes, absolutely.
It's wonderful. Oh, Book Bite Review said, I found it so funny when Susanna thinks Mick left her because I got sad too, and then was like, wait, I already knew they would get together.
I got sad too. I was like, no, like my babies.
I feel like I knew they got together, so I knew he was probably doing something cutesy.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I love the fact that he kind of took the reins and was like, well, she's done all of this amazing stuff to like make an impression and, make herself aware, like make him aware of her existence type thing. And he's like, I also really like her, so I'm going to do the same thing in return, and has like 20 minutes to like pull something together to show that he also really likes her.
And I love I love that she did all this, but I love how she did all that, but she really didn't actually have to, because he had this secret crush on her the whole time too.
I know.
Like there was that part where she like tried really hard like not to follow him in, but he was like waiting to talk to her, but then she ended up like, oh, look at this flyer here. So he ended up giving up, so he wasn't weird hanging around.
And what was the flyer again? It was like
remedies for female baldness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was like intensely looking at it. It's like, oh wait, what does that actually say? Oh my god. Did you see?
I also really love the scene where he takes over and then they get there and you get his perspective and he's like, this was maybe a mistake because it's very cold and it's raining and I'm very cold, but we're gonna sit here anyway.
I like how the boat's like not even like rented or anything. It's like I had 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we just can't row it.
Yeah. Keep it tied up at the wharf. It was so sweet.
And I feel like it puts so much into perspective with the rest of the books.
Oh, also, here you go, Cassie.
Wow.
Pretty.
Amazing.
Also, this is like unrelated to like the Mick and Susanna stuff, but I like how they sort of had like a they included like a graphic novel version of Daughter of Smoke and Bone and part at the very, very end, and it's like, really cool looking.
It's like a scene when they're at the poison kitchen, where Carrie comes and knocks on the window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a really small snippet, but I'm like, you definitely need to look at the physical.
Yeah, and like, oh my god, this
I'm
picture.
going to my library website
Look
right
at
now.
like, can you see Issa here?
Oh,
So cool.
And I just love that because it's a little way of kind of getting these visualizations.
yeah.
And honestly, it really shaped Kuru in my mind too.
Mm.
But oh my gosh, I'm just like, this guy is such a good artist.
So cool. I just love. I really do love the combination of, Laini Taylor's like storytelling with this beautiful like start to a love story, and then the illustrations. It just made for such a magical book surrounding these two characters who are my favorite from the series, and it was just a pure ball of joy and perfection.
I feel like it's like in a story like this and telling Mick and Susanna's story that I feel like Laini Taylor really jumps out as herself, and I start to see like the kindlings of what could eventually write Strange the Dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That I didn't get from Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Like what what I was searching for in Daughter of Smoke and Bone were those inklings that I was, on how she got from one to Strange the Dreamer. And then this one, I'm like, all right, now I'm starting to see that.
And all like the little small details that are just like really magical, like with the peacock footprints.
Right, or like the paper mache flying.
Yeah. And just like all the quirky little conversations that they have, like the topics that they talk about are just super random, but like, so beautiful.
Or there's like the note in like little ice orb.
Oh yeah. And it was like, sees the something. See, no, not Kuru, sorry. See Susanna.
Oh my god. So cute. There's like not even, I don't even know what to say. I'm just like smiling about it.
I know.
Like, I just love this so much. And I'm just like, is it a literary 5? Maybe not, but who cares? Like, this is like absolutely adorable perfection in my mind.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way a book that can bring so much joy can't get 5 stars, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It just makes you so giddy.
I had all the feels from start to finish. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we've said everything that we needed to say.
I know. We accidentally did an entire...
Because we all have the same. We all have the same opinions. We don't have to, like, go back and forth on anything.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, here's an illustration of the 2 puppets that Mick leaves behind. She looks so sad.
He does, and he's terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
I love how there's like the little like snippets of her talking to Kuru. So it's like, oh yeah, here's just a drawing of Kuru reaching for the snake on the doorknob.
Oh, I really did love seeing Kuru in there. Obviously, Kuru's not physically there, but having Kuru text each other and just seeing their friendship as well was wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. Like that conversation where Susanna texts her and it says it's a bad thing, and then she disappears because she figures it out, and then Kuru is like, what? Tell me more. Excuse me.
It's like it's 2 a.m. Go to bed. Long day. It's like, what?
And I just love, honestly, like I feel like their text conversations feel like text conversations between best friends.
Yeah, it felt really
like kind of ridiculous, but ultimately really supportive. Like, so you're saying I should attack him? Yes, stun him with your amazingness. He will look back at his life up till now as a pale dream before the goddess. His real life starts tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I find that a lot of times in books where there's like text conversations, they don't always feel realistic, or there's too much like text speak and like, I don't know, it just doesn't always flow. But this one felt so real. It felt like reminiscent of conversations I've had with friends.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of weird banter and like amusing.
That's the thing, because I feel like most of the time with friends, like unless you're being super serious about something, like most of the time it just ends up not being normal conversations. It's all weird banter.
Yeah, exactly. So it was so nice to see that because I love their friendship, and I love that I love that throughout the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, the best friend has such a strong presence. Like for the most part, obviously there's times where they're apart and they're not so much there, like I think in the second book, but the fact that like when like the main character is introduced to this whole other world, the best friend isn't just kind of left behind, and she's like Susanna and Mick are just like,
It doesn't matter anymore.
we are useful, and they do prove to be useful
Mhm.
even without powers and abilities. And it's just
I just love the female friendship in this book, in the whole series, because like especially I think because even though they both have their own love interests who are very different from each other, like it's a whole different realm of love interests, but their friendship still maintains being really important to each other and like to the story.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love how it doesn't take a back seat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the thing. You can be in a relationship and have your best friend still be like one of the highest priorities of your life. They don't just like fade away, you know, conveniently just because you're in a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like when Carew does kind of disappear, we see evidence that Susanna's just like, where the fuck are you? Why aren't you like replying? Like, why haven't I heard from you? Like, it's not like one instance where she's like, hello, are you still alive? Like, she's still really persistent because her best friend, she can't get in contact with her. Or she's disappeared or something. So
I feel like that's me with you guys. Let's be real.
hello.
I'm always like, what? You think you can't talk to me? You're like, I know you're busy, but you're not ignoring me.
Yeah.
All well intentioned, but
So it was also really nice to see that friendship translate into this for something that's so important to Susanna. And obviously the fact that that friendship didn't take a back seat in her love story. She's still like, Carew, I need help. What do I do here? What do I say? We're about to meet. What do I say?
and she doesn't like belittle Susanna's situation just because she's dealing with all this other stuff. Like, oh, I've got, you know, world saving to do, sort of like, so your little crush isn't important. It's like, nope, she still treats it like it's a huge deal.
Yes.
Which is what you do. You hype your best friend.
Exactly. And sorry, I just remembered another thing I loved about it. When Susanna's phone rings and she picks up and thinking it's Carew, she's like, I'm going to make like heart-shaped rocks cool because Carew makes a joke about her collecting them because she's now in love. And it's actually Mick on the phone and he just rolls with it and doesn't like embarrass her, and she doesn't feel like mortified by it really. They just kind of roll with it and start this really random conversation about like heart photos doing this over random things around the world. Oh,
they're freaking cute. It's annoying. They're like so cute. I want to vomit.
The fact that you like know that they're made for each other right from the start is because stuff like that. Because it's so hard in this world to find people that you can like be so unapologetically and genuinely yourself with. You know, just all the weird little random tangents and everything. You know, without feeling self-conscious. Like it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, look at you and Matt. You and Matt are like total weirdos together.
Total weirdos.
Lane Taylor just sets such high expectations for love stories.
Right.
But I get it because it seems like she has such a wonderful relationship with her partner that like has maintained that like affection and infatuation, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like from an external perspective, that's what it looks like.
And they met on the first day of art school, which is just so cute.
Yeah.
So they're so cute that they make me want to vomit? Got it.
I also just love like the whole puppeteering thing was super interesting. Like I've never really seen that, and it was just it was really cool to learn a little bit more about.
Mm-hmm. Listening to her talk about being the puppet maker versus the puppeteer versus like in the first story when she's talking about like the performance of it, I was just like, this is something so like I've never read a story where this is included.
Yeah.
So was really cool. That's how I felt with the book The Color Project. It's by Sierra Abrams.
Oh,
it's like a
yeah.
self-published book.
Yes.
And that book has flower arranging, like
yes.
yeah, and I'm like, this is so cool because I've never read a story about this before. Like I never would have even thought about it.
There's so many like interesting like passions and talents and projects, and you just see this limited range reflected in literature, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Even though people are just so diverse in their interests. And what I think is interesting too, because she talks about how she's like, she makes puppets, but she still has to sort of take these like puppeteering classes anyway, because it's required. And it almost just sort of like, it seems like, okay, really insignificant, but I mean, I don't know. I guess there's puppeteering colleges around. I don't know. It just seems to me if there was, that would be such a realistic requirement. Because I think about like, you know, all the time that I spent in like theater and everything, and how even though there were people that were getting their degrees not in theater as much as they were getting it in theater tech. So basically, they're getting their degrees to do all the behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get their degrees, they still had to take like a certain number of theater classes, despite the fact that they had no interest in actually being on stage. And again, it's really little and insignificant, but it just seemed like if there was a puppeteer college, it just seemed like a realistic detail, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that part too because like basically having to have the experience involved. I thought that was like really realistic. I don't know, it felt nice.
Yeah, right? It's like, and it might not be anything that anybody would pay attention to, but like I know you've done theater and stuff too, so you like sort of get the point of that well-roundedness.
And then talking about being in the back and like being in the green room and stuff, I was like, wow, take me back. Like this is
like,
giving me some memories.
Like the same kind of theater here, but I was having flashbacks.
Yeah, me too. It was a rough. I was like, I don't know if I want these flashbacks. Maybe go away.
Right? Theater is a rough area to be in. It's rough.
Man.
Have we talked about everything?
I just want to keep showing pictures.
Yeah.
I feel like yes, we have, but at the same time, I'm like, I just love everything. I just love everything about this book, but like also, I just love everything about this whole freaking series. So I'm like,
and again, if you guys
not reading it anymore.
We'll take the help.
What?
Because we're just, I said, I'm just telling them, like, if you have questions, ask them, give us guidance.
Oh, yeah.
We're just going to keep gushing about how much we loved it.
So cute!
Look at them.
Oh. Love it.
Oh man.
I went and requested the book from the library so that I could go through it.
So good.
Wow.
Just these illustrations are stunning.
How long was the book? I'm just curious because I read the book like just on my own and like
What'd you say?
no time. So
what'd you ask?
How long the audiobook was?
Oh, so short. I read it, I think it was maybe 2 hours on 2 times speed, so 4 hours total.
I was curious because I read it in a couple of hours, so I was just curious how quick the audiobook would have been.
Yeah, it was quick because I was gonna do a book diary for it, and then I like introed a book diary video and was like, I'm not gonna be doing annotations because I'm listening to the audiobook, but I'll let you know the next time that I have anything to like update you on how I'm feeling. And I literally listened to it one way through.
And then you're like, okay.
I'm like, well, I'm not making a video anymore.
That's funny. Not so
like I've got nothing to show for this.
Yeah. But I'm gonna look it up real quick to see.
I'm trying to
audiobook.
getting up how long did it take me? I read it within a day. What is it? I think I started reading it on the bus to work and like was really upset that I had to then work the entire day, and then came home and proceeded to finish the entire thing.
It's 3 hours long.
Wow.
So it took me an hour and a half because I was listening to it on 2 times speed.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it was really short.
Yeah, because I remember I read like the first chapter mostly because I wasn't supposed to read it yet because I had something, I don't remember what it was, but there was something else that I needed to read and finish that I was like committed to. But then like it got here and it was like the prettiest book I've ever seen in my life. And then I saw that it was illustrated and I'm like, so then
Now
I read
I
the first
need-
chapter and I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. And then I'm like, no, you have to be responsible. And then I forced myself to put it down until I finished the other book. And then immediately, the second I finished that other book, went and picked up this book and like read the rest of it in one sitting.
It's just
Amazing.
so ugh. It's a book you just devour.
Mm-hmm. Especially like I feel like you could even love this book without having read any of the series because I feel like they're just really cute. But having read the series, you like already are in love with their love. So then to get to like go back to their beginning of
Well,
their
not
love.
only that, there's a lot of references to the main series that I feel like would really, really confuse like they're not going to know anything about the wishes or the chimera or this or that that's going on, you know? And because actually it was because I was messaging somebody about that, right? And I was like sending them pictures, but then they were showing it to their friend, and their friend's like, "Oh my God, I really want to read this book." And I'm like, the thing is like I want you to read this book because it's like so good, but I feel like if you read it on its own, there's going to be like you'll be able to appreciate some of it, but a lot of it will be kind of lost on you because you're not going to understand the references. But also, I don't recommend the series, so I don't know what
Just recommend it via Cassie. Just be like, Cassie recommends the series.
be like,
and I recommend it just so you can enjoy this. Literally though, like it's so worth it. Oh my God.
I would say I'm happy that I read this series. Oh, I'm answering the question in the chat. So I'm happy that I read the series because I'm happy I got through it, and it also brought me this joy. But I just overall I did not really care for the series. Like I didn't hate it. I did not hate it, but it was not great for me.
Mm.
What about you, Kaz?
I did enjoy reading the series. It just didn't go quite in the direction that I was thinking because like the first half of book one, I was in love with it. I loved the Prague setting and have like these hints of this like other kind of world, and then it fully immerses you in that world, which I have mixed feelings about. But again, I also think it was so worth it to get this out of it and like falling in love with Mick and Susanna and their love story through the series and then being able to enjoy it and see how it all began. Because like you get a hint of like what happened. You know that Susanna did a little bit of a treasure hunt to her, but you don't know the details and you don't know how magical it was. And so actually seeing all of that unfold was just so beautiful.
Right? It's like Mick and Susanna, 10 out of 10 recommend. The rest of it,
We all know how you feel, Kat.
Yeah, I'm happy I did this, but like this was a reread for me, and I was also like in love with it the first time, so nobody's surprised that I loved the experience.
but I like even if I didn't love the books, I enjoyed doing this read along with you guys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, 'cause without you guys, I would not have finished, and I would not have gotten to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely what? I definitely think that doing read-alongs like this is like more motivating too, because I tend to like. I mean, obviously with this particular series, I don't think I would have had this issue, but because it was a reread. But like with series, a lot of times I like read the first one, and even if I do really enjoy it, I'm like, yeah, now I'm gonna read the rest of them, and then I just like never read the rest.
In like every series ever.
Yeah,
I can tell you how many series, and I will own the entire series. And people, oh, is it good? I'm like, the first one was good.
Yeah. I'm like, I mean, I liked it enough to buy the rest of them, but I don't know if I like the rest of them.
We'll find out maybe one day.
Yeah,
I know.
that's
And
all I
then
want.
other ones, I feel like I've waited so long. I'm like, am I gonna do it now? Probably not.
Yeah, and then you have to decide, like, are you gonna reread the first one? Are you gonna like watch some reviews to like remember what the
Like,
first
let's
one
do
was
Bell. I'm
about?
never reading the rest of Shatter Me. I
I
read the
didn't like.
first
Well,
Shatter Me years ago, and I liked it enough to that I was like curious to see where it was going. And then I bought the rest of the series. Well, not counting the new ones, like through the first 3 books, so there were only 3 books at the time. And then I don't know. There they are, still collecting dust and
Yeah.
cobwebs.
I DNF Shatter Me. I never finished it.
Now I'm
But
like,
I
feel like
have
I liked it then, but not now. I don't feel like I
yeah.
would like it now.
Yeah, I have like a whole list in my bullet journal of books that I've read part of the series and I know I really want to read the rest of them.
Like what?
Scythe.
I
Every
wanna
Heart
read-
a Doorway, I've read the first 2. Gentleman's Guide, I haven't read the second one. Six of Crows, I've only read the first one. A Court of Thorns and Roses, I haven't read the Frost and Starlight, which like I don't even know if I want to read that.
It's really boring.
Yeah,
Even for a
that's what I've
novella,
heard.
it's really boring.
Yeah. Stalking Jack the Ripper, I've only read the first one. I haven't read the sequel to You. I haven't read Dark Dawn, but that's a different reason. Lifelike, I still haven't read Deviate yet. And Ember in the Ashes, I've only read the first one. The Program, talk about a throwback.
Oh
Across
wow, that
the
is
Universe.
yeah.
Talk
Oh my
about
god! I still haven't read the third one in Across the Universe.
I haven't read any of them except for the first
Oh my
one.
god.
I only read the first one.
And I liked it.
I about that series.
so
I remember liking
really
it, but I was
enjoyed
going to continue. But
I just
You know
I
what?
didn't pick up the third one because they changed the covers.
I'm getting some serious Across the Universe vibes from Aurora Rising right now.
Oh, I get
I
that.
was thinking it was like I was feeling like it was a combination of Across the Universe and
These Broken Stars.
Oh
yes.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was like a combination of the two, but especially when like he's like defrost, and I feel like this is not a spoiler for Aurora Rising because like it's literally the beginning of the book, but he's like pulling her out of the cryo chamber, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've read this before.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then like the Dark Artifices, I haven't read Queen of Air and Darkness yet. Truth Witch, I've only read the first one. Children of Blood and Bone, I haven't read the sequel. And The Poppy War, I haven't read either of them, but it's on my list because I want to read both of them.
We share a lot of the same series that we never finished.
Yeah. Oh, and Cinder should be on here too because I've read Cinder, but I haven't read any of the other ones.
I've read all of them except Winter. I think I started Winter and then I never finished it.
Katrina's judging me really hard.
Oh my god! Wow.
Which is your favorite? Or
Crest.
which? Okay, Crest. That's what everyone says. I feel. Out of all these series, though, which one do I need to read right now? Do you want to see the list? Yeah. Here's the list. Wait, is it on there? Hold on. I got it.
Also, I definitely agree that we need to like do more read-alongs together, like with the 3 of us, because these were really fun.
And hopefully YouTube creates a new web streaming platform where you can have multiple
Right?
people because Google Hangouts is disappearing.
I know, because I feel like we have really fun discussions, but it feels like so like low effort.
I'm putting it up on the screen.
Can you take a picture of it and like send it? Because this is
Truth
blurry.
Witch. We're planning on continuing Truth Witch series soon.
Yeah. Eventually. I don't own it and I don't really want I don't own the next book. I need to buy it and I do really want to read it because I liked Truth Witch a lot and I want to read it with you guys, but I'm like trying to cut back on the whole money spending thing.
Oh yeah.
Which is the only reason I haven't gotten it.
I started hardcore using my library and like also Hoopla is my favorite new thing because it's free. It's free.
Awesome. All right. Well, I feel like we've gotten so off track. Are we?
I know.
Yeah, true. I feel like this is probably coming to an end.
Yes. So to wrap things up, we loved Night of Cake and Puppets. Unanimously thought it was fantastic. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today for this live show, but also for the whole read along. It was definitely an interesting ride and it was really fun to chat with all of you guys about it. Hopefully we'll get around to doing some more read alongs soon. And if we have a way to live show with multiple people, we'll definitely let y'all know. Yeah, for sure. So fingers crossed there's something coming.
Yeah. Hopefully, like, well, can you live? I mean, isn't there another website that you can live stream on? You can like live stream on Twitch, I guess. But that's like a gaming website. I don't even know how do you.
Yeah, we'll have to research.
Yeah, well, if there's another avenue that allows us to do this, we will try to continue it.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
All right. Well, thank you guys again, and we'll hopefully see you very soon with a new read along.